What you guys are about to see is the full interview that I had on Wish 107.5. It was such a blast, man. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. It was really cool to meet Day Rose, the interviewer. She did a great job. She asked some great questions. Some were like, wow, this. I was like, this is a great question, man. So I'm really excited for you to see it. Thank you again for Wish for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. I'm really looking forward to going out in March to play on the actual Wish Bus, man. I'm so excited, so excited. And as a reminder, I'm giving away $1,000 on Instagram. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram on March 15th. If we hit 10,000 followers, then I'm giving away 10 people are getting $100. So just go follow me on Instagram before you watch this. Thank you so much. You'll also be seeing the live performances that I did on the Wish Bus as well, or on the Wish live stream. But also, stay tuned for the Wish Bus. Let's get right into this. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you all.
What is up, Wishers? We are back once again. I think we fixed the technical difficulties. We had to restart the stream. As some of you may know, technology is such a love and hate relationship. So, but yeah, the show must go on. So let's bring back in Jacob. We're going to restart the interview because, of course, y'all missed it. It was a fantastic intro, so we're going to redo it. How's it going, Jacob?
How are you? It's a pleasure to re-meet you guys, or re-meet you, and what's up to everybody in the chat? You want to double check, ask the chat if everything's going good with the stream?
Yeah, how's everything doing?
Yeah,
how are we doing?
Are we lagging still, or are we good?
I think we're good.
Let us know in the chat.
Perfect. Okay, how are you doing?
I am good. It is a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Of course, thank you. It's our pleasure. And okay, I think we're good. Nobody's complaining in the chat. That's
Beautiful.
Perfect. Alex is working fine. Thank you so much. Regular start reactions. We good, guys. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. So it's your first time with us here at Wish USA. Tell us how you heard about us or how you're here.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to start by saying that I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity. When I announced that I was going to be, first of all, this interview here, and then also going in March to the actual Wish Bus in LA, performing on there, I recognize, and also the community that I have recognized how incredible of an opportunity this is. We're all really excited, so I'm really grateful. So thank you. It's a bit of a long story, but it's a funny story as well. It's a story of how connections, the domino effect of connections can kind of happen. I'm a musician and I have a YouTube channel, and part of what I do on my YouTube channel, in addition to making music and writing music and stuff, I do something called reaction videos, where I take music that's already been made by popular artists and I break it down further with the knowledge that I've incurred over years of making music. So I'll take a song and I'll be like, oh, this is the kind of beat they're using. These are the instruments. This is the song. This is the key, or however you play it on the guitar, whatever. I'll break it down even further, so give people a little bit more in-depth understanding. A lot of the ideas that I get come from requests, and somebody had requested, a bunch of people had requested, saying, hey, check out this track by this guy named Easy Mill. It's exploding right now on YouTube. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll go check it out, and ended up being his track Polano, which is just crazy. It blew up. It was, first of all, an insane performance. It was crazy good. But it was on the Wish Bus, and that was my first introduction to the Wish Bus, and it blew my mind. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, where did this come from? Because I've always had this concept of this moving studio in my head, where it's like I take a bus or something like that, and I strip it of everything, and I make it a studio where I could record my music. And you guys did something similar with a radio station type thing, where you have artists come in. And I just think it's so cool, because I could drive, wherever I want and make my music. I think it's so cool. So when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, they did it. And they did it even better than I could have ever imagined. And I was highly impressed. So through that, a whole bunch of people had made requests, being like, oh, since you did Easy Mill, all the Pinoy pride, the Filipino pride came, because that song's about the Filipino pride, and there's a lot of amazing Filipino artists out there. They recommended I check out some other Wish performances from some other artists. So I started doing Morissette and SB19 and all those other artists.
The big guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Incredibly talented artists. And then additionally on my YouTube channel, I do interviews. So I've done a whole bunch of interviews on my channel, and I met some people through those interviews where I ended up having the opportunity to interview Morissette. So I was really grateful for that opportunity. It was really cool. But then I took it a step further and interviewed everybody on her team. So I interviewed, her now husband, congratulations, Dave Lamar. and co-songwriter on a lot of the songs. I interviewed her producer and guitar player, Sergio Ramos. I interviewed her marketing team. I interviewed her creative director. A lot of people involved in her team. And while I was interviewing the producer, Sergio, I filmed it on a live stream, and in the live stream was DJ Alice from Wish 107.5 in the Philippines. Exactly. So I was like, wow, this is really cool. DJ Alice is in the chat. Shout out to DJ Alice. He's like, oh, it's a funny story. That's actually my girlfriend. I was like, oh, well, can you hook me up with an interview? He's like, absolutely. So that was in October of 2021. So a couple months ago, I then interviewed DJ Alice, and then a couple months goes by. It was a phenomenal interview. Really, she's a really cool person. All these people that I mentioned were really, really cool people. A couple months goes by, and then I see a Jamie Miller video on the Wish USA bus, and I'm like, you should. It's a video actually of me finding out that there is the Wish 107.5 in the US. Like, I was so ecstatic because I thought it was in the Philippines. And I was like, I would love to go to the Philippines to play this. And to find out I only have to go to Los Angeles, I was only a few hours excited, right? So I was like, how in the world do I get involved on this? So I then messaged DJ Alice. I was like, my mind is blown right now. I don't know how I didn't know this was a thing. Is there any way you could connect me with the right person to just create a connection? You know, I didn't want to assume that she could get me on or anything. So I just said, is there any connection you can make? And she introduced me to Simon, who I guess was the coordinator, and he set this up, this interview, and also the one in March, where I'm really looking forward to it.
That's coming up very soon. That's such a cool story.
Thanks.
I was just saying earlier, it's funny that you didn't know Wish had also, you know, a USA leg, and you're from the USA. So you were willing to go all the way to the Philippines to get on the bus.
Absolutely, man. I thought this was the coolest thing ever. And it's a big honor, so I'm really excited for this.
I mean, that would have been amazing too if you just decided to fly all the way to the Philippines, right?
Hey, it's not out of the question yet.
Yeah, well, if you haven't been to the Philippines, I'm assuming,
no.
And slowly things are opening up for tourists, as we can see in the news. But yeah, that's such a cool story. I agree, DJ Alice, such a cool person, and that's amazing that you were able to interview Morissette.
Yeah,
SB19.
Really cool. Oh, not yet. I'm still working on that one.
I'm
still working on that. If anybody has a connection in any way to anybody,
there you go. It's all about asking for connections,
absolutely.
Right? I mean, you wouldn't be here if you didn't ask for a connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is that interview on YouTube that our wishers can watch?
Absolutely. All of those, all the ones I just mentioned. Absolutely. They're called I have a playlist. They're called the Tudo Talks playlist because my name's Jacob Restituto.
And we'll talk more about your YouTube channel because there's a lot going on there, and we've got a couple more segments together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before we forget, I think our wishers are interested. How can they find your YouTube channel? What's your YouTube channel?
It's just my name right here. It's Jacob Restituto. As soon as you type in like Jacob RES, it should come up because Restituto is a scary word to spell. But if you type in Jacob RES, it likely should come up.
There you go, wishers. And speaking of your last name, we're gonna segue into yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, what kind of music you do. Yeah,
absolutely.
A little intro from you.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Jacob. I was born and raised in Northport, New York. It's a little town in the center of Long Island. Most people, when I say I'm from New York, they assume from the city. I'm about an hour outside of the city and more of the suburbs, essentially between Manhattan and like the Hamptons, which everybody kind of seems like they know about, right? So I'm in between both of those. Grew up not interested in music at all. I have a very distinct memory of being in the back of the car, asking my parents, "Hey, can you turn off the music? It hurts my ears." And then I hated music. Yeah, it was crazy. I hated music. I had to take like lessons in school. I played the trumpet. The forced lessons were just miserable for me. I really didn't enjoy it. Until high school, I thought that I wanted to be an architect. I took an architecture class and really hated it. And I was like, okay, forget this. So I dropped out of that and started this piano and guitar class where it just taught the very basics of piano and guitar. And I just started... at my church, the youth group needed a worship leader for the youth group, like a music director, essentially. And I was like, okay, let me see if I could figure this out. So I taught myself guitar and piano, started to sing, and I was like, wow, I really like this. And then I wanted to do it further and further more music. So I studied it a bit in high school, or I guess most people call that college outside of the U.S. because it's university outside of the
Yeah.
U.S. Right? We call it
Like
college, but
post secondary.
yeah,
Like
after the legal requirement of school.
yeah.
And then I wanted to do music full time, but I didn't have a band. I didn't have any songs released, so a lot of people convinced me, why don't you go to college or university? And so I did for a year, and then decided, no, it's not for me. I really want to pursue a career in music, and I dropped out of university about 8 years ago, and it was a long road to grow, a lot of seeds planted, and it took a long time for things to finally pay off, but things are starting to pay off, and I'm really excited about that.
Wow, that's amazing. What a story. You literally just answered all of the questions I had lined up, but we're going to dissect them. We're going to
Please,
dissect
yes.
each in one by one. So, born and raised in New York, not the city New York, because that's what I totally thought. I read
You know what?
here.
I'm okay with that.
Cool.
It gives me a cool reputation.
Yeah, no, I mean like I don't know this Northport.
Yeah,
Where
nobody
you're
would know
from?
that. Absolutely. There's
Yeah,
no way.
yeah. So how different is that compared to the city? What's the main? I know it's not. It's like you said. It's kind of like a suburban area. What's
Yeah.
the main difference between the two places?
It's slightly slower paced. So, I mean, if anybody's ever been to Manhattan, it's the hustle and bustle of New York, which I love. I think it's amazing. Like, I there's such a cool culture of New York that, like, when you say you're from New York, people's eyes light up. Like, wow,
Yeah.
you're so cool. And I love
City of
that.
Lights.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Right.
never sleeps. Or is that Vegas?
Exactly.
I don't know.
No, the city. Oh, yeah,
New York?
I think they're both New York.
Oh, cool.
Or, yeah, I don't know.
City that never sleeps. I think it's
Yeah.
New York.
The Big Apple. The City of Lights might
Big
be
Apple.
Paris, but
Yeah.
because I wrote it. The only reason I know this is because I wrote it in a song thinking it was New York, and somebody was like, "Oh, that's actually Paris." I'm like, "Well, the song's already written, so
Well,
it's
yeah, there you go.
Um,
Very, very cool.
yeah, it's slower
and I
paced."
love, yeah, and I love that you said you you remember being in the car hating music and asking your parents to turn off the radio or music because it hurts your ear. And I love that you started loving music and making it in general when you said something about your church, like a youth
Mhm.
group, and that's when you started picking up piano and
Yeah.
guitar for yourself, and then it sparked something in you, and now you're here. You're literally, it says in your bio that you make music for a living,
Yeah.
full time.
Yeah, absolutely. I
And we'll
appreciate you
touch-
quoting that. That's cool. You did
Yeah,
your
of
research. I like
course.
that.
Well, yeah, I read your bio. I mean, I kind of have to read your bio so I know what to talk
I
about or
appreciate
ask you,
that.
right? Yeah, I love that. And so, other than your YouTube, which we'll dissect more later on in the next coming segment,
Sure.
and other than making music, do you have any other hobbies that you enjoy doing?
You know what? First of all, I actually want to comment on that thing you mentioned before, that I make music for a living. For a long time, that was like a faith statement. Like, yeah,
Fake it till you make it,
yeah, it was oh yeah, fake it or faith too. I was like, like I was making a small portion of my living from music, and I was like, I still make money from music. Now it's my full-time job, so it was like faking it till you make it almost. Yeah.
Well, you pretty much manifested it from faking it till you make it.
Exactly.
You kept telling, when you tell people I make music for a living full time, even though you're not.
Well, I wasn't lying about it. I would say.
But now you are.
Yes, that's what I want to do, and I have 17 different hats that I was wearing. But yeah, exactly. I wasn't being like, oh, I'm a famous musician when I had like 6 listeners on Spotify. No.
That's amazing though that you're here and
I'm really
you
grateful
produce
for that.
your own music. And we'll touch more
Sure.
on that and your process in creating music and
Cool.
all that stuff. But back to the question, other hobbies at all?
That question gets asked a lot. Just like I do a lot of live streams on my channel. People are like, oh, what do you do in your free time? I'm like, I really love what I do. So it's like, it's not work for me. So I'm like cool with the fact that like I can work a 12-hour day and it not be monotonous because I love it.
Yeah.
There are things I do. Like I like watching Netflix a lot. Like I love watching TV. I'm a sanguine. I like hanging out with friends. So, whether that be just going over there and sitting on their couch and hanging out or, going out to dinner with my wife. It's either Netflix, hanging out with people, or work. You know, I love what I do. So I'm grateful that my job is actually my hobby to some degree, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, your job is what you love to do.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, that's the best thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
And
grateful for that.
speaking of music, you're gonna do your first song. It's an
Yeah,
original tune.
absolutely.
And before we get into it, tell us a little bit about the song. It's called "We Have Everything."
Yes.
What's it about?
Yeah, so this is my most recent song. I think we'll probably talk about this a little later. I'm trying to do a song a week for 2022. And this is the most recent one. It's a Valentine's Day a love song. I see you have some roses there behind you.
Yeah.
So it is a Valentine's Day love song. Kind of telling a little bit of the story behind me and my wife. You know, it starts off, the first lyrics are on a Friday in October. I told her I'd come over. That like is actually the true story. Like on a Friday, I was, we were hanging out. I asked her to be my girlfriend. That it was now 11 and a half years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been together forever.
Amazing. Shout out to the wifey. I don't know if
Yes.
she's tuning in.
Shout out to the wife. I need to give her the credit because she deserves more credit than I do. Because, for sticking with me through all this stuff when I made no money and it was my dream. And the fact that she stuck with me when things didn't seem like they were going to go anywhere. She deserves a lot of, like, I had the dream of it going somewhere. When she just saw like what was happening, like, and it not going for a while, she deserves a lot of credit.
Credits to you, wifey. That's amazing. 11 plus years. And
Yes.
yeah, the song is called "We Have Everything," and you're going to be playing it for us here on Wish USA. So
Yes.
here you go, Wishers. Please enjoy "We Have Everything" by Jacob Restituto, only here on Wish USA.
On a Friday in October, I told her I'd come over. I need to tell her how I feel. On the surface, I look nervous, 'cause deep down I know she's worth it. I need to tell her how I feel. How I feel. Crashing, falling deeper, darling. In love, we want everything. Being 15 with bright eyes and big dreams. In love, we want everything. Years go by and we're older. A long time since I first came over. Marriage is harder than it seemed, but we love it and each other. Wouldn't trade it for another. Young love with roots that go down deep. Crashing, falling deeper, darling. In love, we bring everything. We're still kids, but 30, with bright eyes and big dreams. In love, we bring everything. We're crashing and falling deeper, my darling. In love, we have everything. We're still kids, but 30, with bright eyes and big dreams. In love, we have everything. We have everything.
there you have it, Wishers. That very first song was called We Have Everything, an original tune by a Jacob Restituto. Let's welcome back Jacob. What's up,
Thank you.
Jacob?
Thank you so
What a
much.
beautiful song. I love the song. Also, it sounds fantastic. Like,
Thank you.
I'm an audio engineer myself, and I really appreciate the sound quality, and how on point it is. I can tell that you spent a lot of time producing it. I'm assuming
Thank
you
you.
produced it,
I
right?
did, yeah,
You
yeah,
recorded all
absolutely.
in
Well,
your
the
home
vocals were
studio.
live, yeah, but the rest, the music was all
Yeah,
the
the music. Yeah,
pre-recorded
yeah.
track. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it sounds amazing, and I can
Thank
tell
you.
you're in your studio. Is that
Yeah,
your
yeah,
home
exactly.
studio
Yeah,
right there?
exactly.
Did you so I wanted to ask, you're a producer yourself. Did you have professional training in like producing, or you
YouTube
just kind of learned
University.
everything? YouTube University. You know, that's more than enough in learning,
Yeah,
right? YouTube has
absolutely.
everything nowadays.
We have
It's so
everything
cool.
on
We
YouTube.
have everything. And we're gonna segue into your YouTube channel in a
Oh,
bit.
perfect.
But I was gonna say the song
Uh,
totally had a New York City vibe. Like it,
mm,
at least for me, it gave me
cool.
such like a hopeful feeling.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
cool.
It's like sad but hopeful at the same time. But
Yeah,
anyways, I loved it. It's
yeah.
great.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. So full-time singer songwriter now, producer as your job, and I wanted to ask, was there ever a point where you decided to like drop everything to make music? Like, do you remember that day?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because you mentioned something about university and you took up
Yeah,
architecture and you
that's a
absolutely hated
phenomenal
it.
question, actually. Yeah, that's
Thanks.
cool. Nobody's ever really asked me that specific. Like, do I specifically remember the day? Yeah. Not necessarily the exact day, but I do remember like where I was, time frame essentially. So my church was reading this book called it was the Circle Maker, or no, something about this, well, something. It was a Bible story we were reading essentially,
Yeah, yeah.
but there was this act of faith where there's a story in the Bible from this guy. I think it's his name is Jonathan, and he's like he wants to climb up this mountain and fight this army, and he said perhaps God will be with us, and he has this faith like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna try it and perhaps God will be with me, kind of thing. Like I'm gonna have the faith that He's gonna be with me, and that sparked such a fire in me. I was like, you know what, I really have this dream. I'm gonna take the faith that it's required to, like, drop out. Everybody thought I was crazy, man.
Oh
Oh
my
my gosh,
gosh.
and I'm grateful for my family, like my parents and stuff. Like they were worried at first, but then once I like was like proved to them that I'm like not gonna be a bum on sitting on the couch and eat potato chips all day, like, and I was actually putting work in. Um, they were like, okay, we it's gonna be okay, kind of thing. But like, yeah, it was. I distinctly remember like, you know what, I'm not gonna like sit back and regret my life away. So I'm gonna take the leap of. If the worst thing that happens, I always said I could always go back to college if I like
Yeah.
I was like, but I just really had this passion and faith that this is what I was supposed to do.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, that just like that hit me differently.
Oh
It's
shoot,
I
thanks.
love that story. It taking a leap of faith, and perhaps, God will be there with us. And you literally just dropped everything and took a leap, especially in the music industry, because it's a slippery slope being a musician or an artist in general. You can't really, go into it thinking, you know, I'm going to be successful right away,
Oh
or I'm
gosh,
going to
yeah.
do this for the money or the fame or whatever. You have to start doing it by loving to do it first,
Oh
right?
my
And then
gosh,
everything
absolutely.
else comes after.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it sucks some days.
Yep.
It really does. Absolutely. And if you don't have that passion and the faith in yourself, and when the world's telling you you're bad at what you do, so like, like you gotta ignore the comments like, oh, you're not good enough, or there's 1,000 more talented people than you, or this or that. Like, you gotta just be able to quiet that out and say, you know what,
Mm.
I really believe in myself that this is I might not be the best, but I really believe this is what I'm supposed to do.
Well, yeah, that's why you do it for yourself and not for other
Yes.
people, right?
Come on,
Yeah.
preach. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. I really, really love that story. Um, So you produce your own stuff. Do you work with the band, or are you sort of like a one-man band, or are there any collaborators out there that you want to shout out right now? I know
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
lots of fans and friends in the comments section here, so feel free to read the comments and do a shout out.
I was thinking the same thing. It blows my mind, and I like it's a genuine gratitude that I have because like I said, like it was a long time of nothing. Like I've released a lot of music. Like I really like I've released as much music as I can. I've released over 100 songs so far. So like how many of those songs have I released where nobody went to stream it? Like I'd post on Instagram and be like, "Hey, new song out today," and nobody cared. And nobody went and streamed it. No, other than maybe like my mom and dad and
Yeah,
like
the family.
like other than that, like so now for people like that I can say, "Hey, I'm going to be on the Wish live stream today," and that people show up. Like it's sticking giving me chills, man. Like it's the craziest thing ever, and I'm so grateful for it. That it's not lost on me. So I do want to give a quick shout out to the people in the chat, like Chris. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
go for it.
Alex, and Medyo, and regular starts, and everybody that's in here. Ellen and Barton and Emmanuel. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all, Alex. Yeah, but yeah. So I do all the music myself. I produce it all myself, mix it myself. There are times where, like, if I'm collaborating with somebody, for example, like I did a song with a fellow YouTuber that I met. His name is Brad Steele. So, like, he played the piano part. I did the rest of the stuff, and he sang. And then we had another drummer named Owen come in. So that was cool. But 90% of the time, it's just me.
One man band, and I mean that makes it easier for you too to like get things done.
Oh
if you-
gosh, I could not
Yeah.
agree more. That's actually a massive reason as to why, first starting
Yeah.
out, I made the decision to be the one man band. Maybe in the future, like going on tour, I'd consider getting a band. But like, I was like, I don't have to worry about oh, the drummer
Meeting
canceled.
schedules,
Yeah,
yeah.
or oh gosh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, totally. It's amazing. And speaking of music, what's your process in writing music? Like, tell us from idea to recording or finished
Sure.
product.
Absolutely. So, it depends on the song. There's two ways to go about it for me. One way would be like I am just doing like my normal life kind of thing. I'm on a run or cooking dinner or whatever, walking my dog, and like a lyrical idea comes to me, like whether I'm listening to somebody else's music and I'm like, oh, that's a really cool concept. Like then a lyric idea will come in, and then the alternate, and then I'll take that, I'll write that down. But then 95% of the time, I'll start with more of music. I'll like find like I like working with samples. A lot of what I do is with samples, and I'll chop up the samples and turn them into my own thing. So I'll start with like a base of the sample, and start producing the song. And like, okay, where can we go with this? And then I'll go through my lyrics and be that my lyrics on my phone that I have written down, like whether it be like I said on a run or whatever. And I'll be like, does any of this fit? If not, then I'll try to write to the new song. So that's kind of the process. It's 95% of the time music first and then lyrics.
Music first. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Actually, and then I'm sorry, really quick shout out. I want to give a shout out to the people that are here because there's Chris Wheatley actually has who's in the chat right now, and a lot of I call them Team Tudo, which are the the supporters of the music and everything, have writing credits on songs because I love going live making music. So I'll go live on YouTube and be like, hey, we're working on a new song today, and they'll throw a point. They'll be like, oh, you should add a cello, or some people will put lyrical ideas, and I'll be like, hey, I have this concept, I want to write it like this, and then they throw in lyrics, and like, so they get writing credits, and it's a cool way to
that's
collaborate.
So cool.
I've never even met Chris, and the guy has like writing credits on like 6 songs, and like some of them are
What?
my favorite songs. Yeah, absolutely, it's wild.
That's amazing.
It's so cool.
That's very cool. Well, shout out to Chris and every team. What'd you say? Team Tudo?
Team Tudo,
Shout out
exactly.
to everybody in the comment section. Everybody's been so supportive and active in the comment section. I love it. And so do you write in terms of lyrics and story, do you write about your own experiences or other people's experiences?
That's a great question as well. Yeah, so it's a bit of both. There are ones that I've done just by myself, like about my story. There have been ones that I've done looking into somebody else's life and telling their story. And then there's another that I really like doing is just creating a story. Like I like the idea that I could create this movie in people's head and tell that story. It's a really cool concept. But then I was literally just talking to my wife about this last night. I have a song where actually Chris helped me write this part of the song where it goes, just text me when you're home. I'm waiting all alone. Essentially saying like, like it's this lost lover essentially. Like, hey, I wanted to be with you, but you have somebody else kind of thing. I know, right? A heartbreak song. And I was doing a performance video of it, and I posted it on Instagram, and the caption was like, just text me when you're home. And because it's the lyric of the song. And my wife's like, she wasn't jealous at all or anything like that. But she's like, hey, just like, it kind of looks like you're like, out there like putting your flirting songs out. She's like, I don't care. I trust you. I'm not worried. But she's like, just a heads up. I'm like, oh, shoot, that's a weird line. You're right. Because it's my song, but like, it's not my situation. So how do I find that balance between like, it was a funny situation. So all three, mine, other people's, and then fake stories that I make.
I totally hear that. Like artists and musicians in general, their music is so vulnerable, right? And so you hear it and it's like, oh shoot, like is that about me? Is that about a particular situation or anything? Especially being with a musician as well. It's also it's like a love and hate thing, or it can be a love and hate thing sometimes. Let's talk about your YouTube channel.
Sure.
So you touched up on it earlier, and you do reaction videos, interviews, of course, and vlogs. What do you, other than reacting on music and dissecting other people's music, do you react on other stuff as well? Because I know there's lots of reaction videos.
Yeah. No, I typically stick to music. So my YouTube channel is all related to music, whether it be reaction videos on music, or my own music, or making music and stuff like that.
Have you ever reacted on your own music? Do you have?
Absolutely! Come on, that's the best kind of marketing.
Nice. Oh, that's so smart. I love that. Amazing. All right, so let's talk about your second song.
Sure.
So before I forget, that podcast is actually called More Than Music, right? So
yeah.
Or is that a different one?
No, that I think that is what I called it. Yeah, I'm not sure what I called it. Yeah, I think so. But it is essentially
music.
Yeah, you can just type in Jacob Restituto on any podcast, and I think it's called the Tudo Talks More Than Music. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. So different. This next song, another original tune. Tell us a little bit about that song.
Yeah. So this song is man, this is an interesting song. Music is funny, right? Because you could spend so much time and so much energy, like working, trying to make a song sound perfect, right? And people could be like, oh yeah, that's a cool song. And I'm like, oh gosh, I like work so hard on this. And then there's other songs where you write so quickly, or you like this song is so unbelievably simple. It's like so simple, but then people like loved it. And it's like, why have the songs that I spent 50 hours working on? It's like people are, oh cool, yeah, cool. Which I'm not mad. It's just fun, the unpredictability of music and stuff. And this was really cool. In the music video of it, I sent out people can text me. I have two texting numbers: an international WhatsApp number and a regular texting number in the U.S. So if they want to send a text, so I sent out a text to my the supporters and stuff and said, hey, if you're interested, I would love for you to be in the music video. And all you have to do is put on a piece of paper, essentially hold up a piece of paper like this and say, I'm different and that's blank. You fill in the blank. Okay, beautiful, amazing, smart, unique. So in the music video, like I'm holding up all the different lyrics of the songs in different locations and stuff. And then in the instrumentals, it goes to all of the subscribers. I'm different because I'm, beautiful. I'm different because I'm young. And it like seeing this, I literally wanted to cry when I was making the video. I was like, this is so cool, man. It was such a cool way to unify Team Tudo, but it was so
and so interactive too, right?
Yeah, that's a big
amazing.
It's important to me, yeah.
And I just wanted to comment on or quote you on what you said earlier with it's funny how you work so hard on this one music and then people are like, oh yeah, that's cool, and then there's this one simple song and everybody loves it.
Yeah. And
I think it really comes down at the end of the day to how the listeners like connect with the song personally, what hits them, right? or like whatever story or narrative that they tell in their own mind when they listen to your
Yeah.
song or your lyrics, which is super cool. It's very interesting.
Hey, you know what? I'm
And
okay with it. If they want the simpler songs,
yeah,
that's less work for me. I'm cool with that.
yeah, totally. So different. You're gonna
Yes.
play it for us.
Yes.
Another original tune. Here you go, Wishers. The song is called Different, only here on Wish USA.
I know that I'm different. That's never gonna change. I hope that you will love me if I always stay the same. I know that I'm not like everyone else. I know I'll probably never be. So it just hurts me when you're asking me to change. It's like throwing knives at me. You've been with me for so long, I thought you'd know that I'm not different at the core. But when you ask me to be different round your friends, man, do you like them more than me? I know that I'm different. That's never gonna change. I hope that you will love me if I always stay the same. If I always stay the same.
there you have it, Wishers. That beautiful song was called Different,
Thank you.
an original tune by Jacob. Jacob, welcome back.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that song. It's beautiful. And I get it. Like, I understand why and how people connected with that song so well. Like, the lyrics, first of all, like, the opening phrase is like, I'm how different you are, and you probably won't change. And so don't ask me to change, sort of stuff. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Probably like everybody, really.
Yeah.
in
And
the
I also
world,
think
right?
it's so important to go into a relationship not expecting the person to change. If they do change, that's great. But I don't think you can expect people to change, if that makes sense.
No, you can't. And if they do change, that's on their own pace, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Preach.
Right?
Come on. You're
Yeah.
speaking the truth
Yeah,
tonight.
I'm like a love guru here, or life guru. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just kidding. Sometimes it just hits me. Also, like, I got really inspired by your song. So
Oh.
beautiful song.
Thank you.
We've got one more segment together. Unfortunately, it's been really fun.
It has
Again,
been.
thank you so much for joining us. And before I forget, somebody, Chris, or who was it? Kraitong Barton? Barton says, coming soon to a radio station near you, hopefully.
Preach,
is that
Barton.
true?
I hope so. I'll take.
Hopefully. But yeah, everybody says awesome, love it.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree. It's an amazing song. And yeah, last segment together, I have I sort of have two big questions for you. Like
Okay.
the first one and the last one. So the
Okay.
first question is, what drives you to keep doing what you do? What or who has been your constant inspiration to keep doing what you do, especially during these trying, uncertain times? And you can take your time. It's fine.
Yeah. That's a great question. I think that I'll kind of tie those two together because they all kind of are the same answer to me. Is like I want to make music out there that's good quality music that anybody can listen to, and I have a problem, I guess you could say, with the current state of the music industry, and not necessarily with the quality of music, like like an old fart saying like, "Oh, today's music," the kid. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like, I don't like the fact that like my 12-year-old cousin is singing about like shaking butts and things that she shouldn't know about. And there's no hate towards the artists that make that song, the music. Like we're all entitled to make whatever music that we want. You have the creative freedom to make whatever you want. But I think that there's a problem with the music industry that we're allowing kids to hear that stuff, or to be on the radio, right? So there's no hate towards the artist, but I don't like the system. So my alternative is, what? Let's release music that's good music. That's not like, like kids music, but like real music, like life stuff in a clean way that, can, when my song's on the radio, the goal is for my song to be that number one. So people are listening to that and maybe not necessarily the butt shaking raunchiness that's out there.
I hear you. Yeah.
So that's the inspiration and the goal. And, there's so much darkness in the music industry that I would love to bring a little light into it.
Yeah. I hear you. Totally. Absolutely. 100% agree. And there's not a lot of artists or people or musicians in general that bring light to that topic, right? Because it's a scary topic to kind of sort of talk about.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's even hard for me to say here. Like, not hard, but it's like, it's not a popular opinion, I guess you could say.
No.
Or it is. I feel like it actually might be, but I think most people don't voice that opinion.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has it for sure, but not everybody can voice it. Because especially nowadays, like cancel culture is such a huge thing. If you're an artist, it's like, oh, I have this opinion, but should I say it? Because I'm afraid that if I do, people might stop listening to my art, right?
Yeah.
So, I hear you.
You know what I would love to see, though? You know how we have, like, R-rated movies, and, like, you can't get into an R-rated movie unless you're 17?
Oh.
Or accompanied by a parent. I think that there should be, to some degree, some sort of censorship like that in music. Like, if some of the stuff out there is so bad. Lyrically, that the fact that a 10-year-old kid can hear that is just not okay. So like there's got to be some sort of guidelines that you could put up that like Spotify could like I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that's
totally.
a change that should happen in the music industry.
Right. And yeah, I never thought of it that way. If that can happen with movies, why not with music? And I mean, there's probably so much writing on that. Lots of stuff writing on that.
Of course. Do you know how much money artists would lose?
Yep. Yep. Exactly. That's the thing. But anyways, so do you have any future music collaboration or shows coming up that our wishers can look forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in March, end of March, I don't know how what the situation is with how soon after these premiere, but I'm going in March. March 20th, I'll be on the Wish Bus in LA. So I'm really excited about that. I don't know how soon after that the videos will premiere, but I'm going to perform on those. So stay tuned for that, wishers, because I am so excited for that. I am like crazy excited for that because I'm like a massive fan of the bus, and I'm like just a massissive fan of it. So the V actually on the bus is like, I'm sticking pumped.
Yeah.
And then amazing. A song a week. I'm still trying to do a song a week because I want to get out of the mentality of like, perfecting a song and almost like being okay with where it is at the end of the week and, just learning.
And do you release these songs?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
On YouTube's and
everywhere.
Spotify
Anywhere you listen to music, you'll hear the songs.
Wow, that's amazing. A song a week. That's great.
I'm trying.
And you do have another song coming up. But before that, I wanted to ask the other big question.
Sure.
What is that one defining moment that funneled your destiny to become the artist or person that you are now. So one specific memory or situation that you hold on to up to now that really, changed, not changed, or like shaped who you are as a person or an artist.
That's a tough question, man.
I know it's a loaded.
Jeez.
And normally I would have asked or let you know earlier, but I totally forgot. But I know you'll do that.
Yeah. I think a lot of my mentality and my drive and my hope and my faith, it all comes from, I think, my faith. Oh, I know it comes from my faith. I believe in God and I'm a Christian. And I think that is the driving factor behind it. I do say that, I'm a Christian that makes music. I don't make Christian music. They're two different things, I think, because I don't want people to think, oh, when they listen to my music, like it's all like it's church music. No, I'm just a person that goes to church that makes music. I want to make that distinction. But yeah, I think that is the faith. Like my faith is a big part of, I wouldn't be able to do it without it. And it would be so much harder without it, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest aspect that my driving factor that keeps me going. I don't know if there's a specific moment, but that driving factor.
That's beautiful. No, that's fantastic. That's beautiful. I relate to that. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And so before we talk about a little bit about your last song, do you have any shout outs or music and social media plug? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Jacob Restituto wherever you stream, listen, do anything. It's just Jacob Restituto. So if you typed it in on whatever platform. Oh, yeah. And the new Jacob Restituto app. You can download.
Oh, you have an app?
Yes. It's the Jacob Restituto app in the App Store. I'm very excited about that. So
check that out.
Yes. International, Android, iPhone. Just go whatever you have. Just type in Jacob Restituto. You can get the app.
What can you do with the app? What's in the app?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things right now, and then I'm going to keep adding to it. So right now you can watch videos, you can sign up for Tudo Plus, which is like exclusive stuff where you can hear songs early, you get extra content, you get extra behind the scenes, you get weekly Zoom calls with me. You can, the lyrics will be on the app, or already on the app. The chord charts to my music, so how you can play my music will be on the app. You can hear the music on the app. You get news updates on the app. And then I'm just going to keep, adding to the app. Like, my goal is for people to check the app like they check Instagram.
Wow, that's amazing. Goal. I never heard of that. You're doing it, man. You're killing it.
Thank you so much.
I love it. I've never had an artist that has his own app. I'll definitely check that out. There you go, Wishers. Check it out.
I'd love to know your feedback. When you do, tell me what you think.
Absolutely.
What could be better of it.
Sounds good. Will do. And last song, another original tune called Colorado. Tell us a little bit about that song.
Yeah, I love this song. There's something. It's funny. Like going back to what we were talking about earlier. Like you never know what song's gonna do well or what people are gonna receive. Like I love this song. And it was like decently received, but like in my head, I'm like, this is such a good song. The world needs to hear it. And like I said, I like people like were received it, but it wasn't like different like people loved. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, it's funny. Like I love Colorado. Like I just really like how it came out. It's like it plays a picture in my head. My wife and I went to Colorado for our anniversary, and it was just such an amazing experience. Traveling and seeing. It was so beautiful. It was like anything you could. It was like the perfect trip. So I turned that into a song, and maybe that's why it just refreshes those memories.
Maybe that's
for me.
why, yeah.
But I stink and love it, So I really like the song a lot.
I love that. There you have it, Wishers.
Yeah.
This last tune, another original song, is called Colorado by Jacob Restituto. Only here on Wish USA.
Yes.
Colorado's beautiful, baby. Every mountain, every view. From Breckenridge to Boulder, every town that we went through. From swimming in the hot springs, we climbed the Rockies too. It's so beautiful, baby, but not as beautiful as you. rush as we drove the interstate. Just you and me, we got no plans, no rush, no being late. Past a million trees, the rolling hills, the mountains with the snow. But after all I've seen and where I've been, there's one thing that I know. Yeah, after all I've seen and where I've been, there's one thing that I know. Colorado's beautiful, baby. Every mountain, every view. From Breckenridge to Boulder, every town that we went through. From swimming in the hot springs, we climbed the Rockies too. It's so beautiful, baby, but not as beautiful as you. Colorado's beautiful, baby, but not as beautiful as you. The Colorado Gold Rush, the Rocky Mountain Head Rush, every memory is ours, love, every memory with you. The Colorado Gold Rush, the Rocky Mountain Head Rush, every memory is ours, love, every memory with you. Colorado's beautiful, baby, every mountain, every view. From Aspen up to Estes, every place I went with you. From singing at the Red Rocks, the bars in Denver too. It's so beautiful, baby, but not as beautiful as you. Colorado's beautiful, baby, but not as beautiful as you. Not as beautiful.
There you have it, Wishers. The last tune was called Colorado, another original tune by our very first special guest, Jacob. We're going to welcome back Jacob real quick just so he could say his goodbyes. What's up, Jacob? Thank you for
Hey.
sharing your time
Thank
with us.
you.
It's been a pleasure. And
It's been a
yeah,
pleasure, absolutely. Thank you for having me so much. Who's the next special guest?
he's actually hanging out in the back here. We've got Krister. I think that's how you say his name.
Krister.
And
Cool.
yeah, hanging out with us from Las Vegas, I believe.
Sick.
Currently it's so crazy. This is what I love about my job at Wish in general, is like I'm in Vancouver, Canada, you're in New York, our tech is in LA, and our next guest is in Las Vegas. Like, how cool is that?
So cool,
Amazing. I just needed to point it out. But yeah, thank you so much,
Thank
Jacob, for
you.
being with us. And Wishers, please don't forget to follow Jacob on all the social media platforms. That's on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, Deezer,
Yeah.
all of the above. YouTube, of course, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, at Jacob Restituto.
Wow. You listed them
And
all,
yeah.
man.
Thanks. I
Absolutely.
know, like, before I forget. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
Wishers, we'll be right back. We're just gonna get our next guest ready, and for now, just chill and grab a drink, water, whatever it is that you may need.
Yeah, go
and
stream Jacob
send-
Restituto.
Yeah, yes, go stream Jacob Restituto right now, and go
Download the
buy
app.
or download.
It's
yeah,
free.
It's
Yeah,
for
free.
free.
Yes.
It's free. So there you go. And we'll be back.
See you later. Thank you.
See you later.